Recently, I've been going through the games I've played so far. When I checked Ghost of Tsushima, the first thing that came to my mind was this minigame called Bamboo Strike. As a game developer, my brain immediately shifted gears. I couldn't help but ask myself, could I recreate something like this? And more importantly, how would I actually do it? So let's try to recreate Bamboo Strike in Unity game engine. First, we need to see Bamboo Strike again, but this time not for fun. Also, let's see what are the mechanics. Okay, this is the Bamboo Strike. But before that, I know you probably heard before, but isn't this game nice, just breathtaking? I really love this game, so if you want me to recreate any other mechanics, feel free to make a comment. First of all, let's see what happens if I only press triangle and after that wait. As you can see, it says you were too slow and I fail. It fails again when I hit the wrong button. I am now trying these combinations with two correct buttons. The outcome is similar. Now let's see what happens when we hit the correct buttons in time. We go to the next tier, which has 5 bamboos to cut. I'm trying all the combinations here too, but it is giving me the same results. So I pass this tier 2 to the 7 bamboo tier, which is the final one. Since I know there won't be any different outcome, I one-shot the final tier. Okay, now that we know what to do, we open a new project in Unity. We add basic plane for the ground. We will use Ybot character from Mixamo. Add an animator component on it and an animator controller. Create a parameter with the type of trigger. Name it strike. The transition from idle to slash should have has exit time unchecked, since we want to start slashing as soon as we press any buttons, and conditions of course should be set to our trigger parameter. For the opposite, has exit time should be checked and no conditions should be set. You can see the settings I use for idle animation. And these are the settings for slash animation. I downloaded free katana model from Asset Store. Now I put the katana in character's right hand rig. This will ensure katana moves with the hand when character animates. Just like that. Since we are not aiming for reality for this part, I created a basic bamboo stand, bamboos, and a game object with a sprite renderer for rendering needed button icons. Capsule collider component with its trigger checked ensures our bamboos has a way of understanding if they made a contact with the sword. Also, sword or bamboos need rigid body component for this to work, so I added rigid body component to the sword game object. First, we need a way to know what buttons the player is pressing. For that, we create a script called input indexer and attach this script to a new game object. We make a list of string called inputs. This will hold string list of inputs we pressed in order. For easy comparison and reaching this list outside, we use a singleton pattern. We'll be using a new class I generated for the new input system. I will show you how you can do it later on. Now we enable the needed action map and see if these buttons been pressed. Then we add specific strings to the list when pressed. Also, a method for clearing the list will help resetting the list. For the individual bamboos, we create a script called bamboo. Each bamboo has an ID to differentiate and a button code string that tells which buttons can slice this bamboo. The update image method looks at its button code string and pulls the right icon from resources/icons folder so the player knows what to press. When Swords Collider hits the bamboo, it checks the input button string and button codes, aka required button string. If they match, it tells the manager we got one, and the bamboo disappears. If pressed the wrong button or you were too slow, it calls reset tier from bamboo stand manager script and you have to start again. For setting up the bamboos, managing the tiers and resetting the game, we create a script called bamboo stand manager. This script will act like a director. So we have 3 tiers. Tier 1 has 3 bamboos, tier 2 has 5 bamboos, and tier 3 has 7 bamboos. When a tier starts, setup bamboos randomly assigns button codes to each bamboo. In update, it watches the input indexer. As soon as you start pressing buttons, it triggers the strike animation on your character. It constantly checks if your sliced bamboo count matches the tier requirements. So animation time becomes the time constraint, just like in Ghost of Tsushima. Once you slice 7 in tier 3, you officially mastered the minigame. In Ghost of Tsushima, if you fail, the random assigned needed buttons remains the same. But for this, I also added another option with Enum that makes it so that each time you fail, the needed buttons also get randomized again for added difficulty. To create the new class for the new input system, we click on the input action set we created. Then we choose where to store, what to name, and a namespace for it if you want it. And click apply. That's all. Now, let's see it all in action. Okay, let's try the harder one by changing the enum to random each fail. As you can see, it randomizes again with each fail, hence the enum name. I hope you liked this video. All scripts and the project will be on GitHub, so feel free to check it. For the record, these scripts are far from perfect since I made it in a quick and lazy way. Project can improve for the better, such as using enums instead of strings, which can get expensive when making comparisons. That's why I plan to make further enhancements to this project in the part 2, or just on GitHub. I really wonder what you'll suggest as improvements, so don't forget to leave a comment about it. Just like I said, hope you liked the video, and that's all. I'm out.